Man, the NFL board is taking the time. I think the Lord Jesus can come back and touch us because we're playing so nice now.
Yeah.
What's going on with that? But I love Will. We've done a lot of great work together, including this show and TV. We go way back, but Will, I'm a Gamecock, and I'm taking Mississippi State. Because I just think that, after loss to South Alabama, it's a pride factor that's going to play this ball game. Dan Mullen's an excellent coach. Those guys are going to be ready to go. I love South Carolina football team. Let me just say this. I love the team. I love the team and what they're doing. But I haven't seen enough of South Carolina's offense. I don't think you can go in there and score 13, 10 points and win the football game.
Has the world spun off its axis? I got Will arguing for a Gamecock win and Corey arguing for a Gamecock loss. What's going on here?
I'm just, me, I try to be as honest as I can. Whether I'm in my heart, it would do me well. I will be so blessed.
You've never been honest a day in your life.
I'm honest when it comes to talking about this football. I think Mississippi State.
Behind the pulpit, you're not honest.
Praise the Lord. I mean, come on. Hey, listen. Here's what's going to happen.
You read out of First Opinions 519.
First Opinions 13. And that's what I'm doing right now. This is First Opinion 13, Field Corn Blue. But I think the fact that they lost South Alabama, last week, and South Carolina with a big win. I know they're going to be ready to play. My heart wants South Carolina to win the ball game, but I think just right now, I don't like what Kurt Roper did with Brandon McElwain. I think he limited him tremendously. He opened the playbook the second half for Perry Orr. I think he should have did the same thing for Brandon McElwain. Hopefully they'll do that this week. But I just think it's going to be too tall of an order. South Carolina just does not have that deep talent to go on the road and win. And this is a better football team than Vanderbilt with better talent.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Bulldogs. Yeah. I'm taking Mississippi State to win this one. And a close one. Mm-hmm. But I think it's not going to hurt South Carolina. I think they're going to get better. But I think it's just, again, by losing last week and they're home, I'm taking Mississippi State. If this was flipped and it was at South Carolina at Williams-Brice, I'll be taking the Gamecocks. But I just don't see it happening this week.
Guys, great stuff.
And by the way, just for the record, I'm taking Clemson over Troy.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying.
By how many?
I wish I had a good game to say I could take the other team.
Hey, it's coming. Clemson has a couple of bye weeks, then Georgia Tech. So we'll get serious in a couple more weeks about the Tigers.
Clemson until they play Florida State. I'm taking Clemson all the way until Florida State.
Guys, have a great week. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Will Merritt, former Clemson standout lineman. Corey Miller, the pastor of Payne, former USC standout linebacker, NFL standout linebacker, M&M Boys, and we thank them for being with us here tonight on Sports Talk. And we are brought to you by South Carolina soybean farmers and their checkoff. Learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork powered by soy. Let's squeeze in a quick call before the top of the hour break. We'll get recruiting on the other side. Where are we going there, Jarmart?
We just got a question, quick question, asking where I'll let him ask the question.
Well, that's the whole idea about having a caller is let the caller ask the question. I got a producer back here who wants to be the star of the show. Ain't happening. Who is it? I have no idea who the caller is. Go ahead, caller. What's your question?
Phil.
Yes.
Did you know where Kendrick Sally went after he left Carolina?
Yeah, he went to Presbyterian. He didn't stay there very long either.
It's going back a minute.
Is he playing football or anything like that?
I don't think so. I think he's retired from the game. He went to Presbyterian and didn't stay. And that goes back a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
So I think he's out of the game. All right. Thanks very much. Appreciate the phone call. Maybe I can squeeze in recruiting here before the top of the hour. Defensive end Brad Johnson of Pendleton will make official visits this fall to Virginia Tech, Tennessee, Michigan State, and Notre Dame. According to his coach, Paul Sutherland, Notre Dame visit likely to take place weekend after next during Pendleton's open week. USC, the fifth school involved, and he's been to USC several times unofficially, so not sure he'll take an official with the Gamecocks. He is going to Bristol this weekend for the Tennessee-Virginia Tech game as a guest of the Hokies. Will Muschamp was at the school Friday morning, fresh off that trip to Nashville, and he met with Johnson reiterated his need and desire and want for him. And I think South Carolina remains in very good shape with him at this particular time. And his coach said South Carolina is recruiting him harder than anybody, followed closely by Virginia Tech. Johnson's been hampered this season with a grade 1 separated shoulder, and he's been playing with a brace, also been playing some running back. Look for a decision pretty quickly after the visits because he doesn't want to drag this thing out. A little bit more in recruiting coming up, top of the hour break, and we'll be back. In Clemson, in Tigertown. Founders Clemson location located on Highway
Curiosity.
266.
Now, I will tell you this. I
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Back at you, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Here on a Wednesday night, good to have you along. Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, Professor Tom Hayes, and Jar March. Jared Rogers Martin. 800-956-7266 is the number. We have some room for more of your phone calls. Appreciate the phone calls in the first hour. Time and room for more if you want to join in. Comment on USC Mississippi State in particular and how you think that game is going to turn out. Let me finish the recruiting report. Another couple of items for you before we hit the top hour. Defensive back Xavier McKinney, Roswell, Georgia, says 3 of his officials will be Clemson, Florida, and Ohio State. Also under consideration are Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, and Notre Dame. He's not set any dates, but plans to get some within the next couple of weeks. He did not make it to a game last weekend, and he's not going anywhere this weekend. Clemson was last in touch earlier this week, hearing from Mike Reed and Tony Elliott. He said that he thinks Clemson's pushing hard for him, and he thinks they want him there. His former teammate is Clemson freshman linebacker Trey Lamar, so he's getting a recruiting nudge from him. But he says no team stands out with him right now. He's going to wait to the Under Armour game to announce. He does believe Georgia and Alabama are selling him the hardest on the idea of wanting him the most. All right. USC offered 2019 defensive end Joseph Anderson of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. 2018 defensive end Xavier Thomas of Wilson plans to visit Georgia Saturday, USC the following weekend. Basketball 2019 Ace Flora forward Christian Brown was offered by LSU this week. He also has a Clemson offer at the point and several others. All right, there you go with recruiting. And do not forget to check out the recruiting on the website, sportstalksc.com. And on Twitter, use the hashtag STRecruiting. 800-956-7266 is the number. Off the subject of football for a moment. If you were watching MLB last night, you got a chance to see the end of the Yankees and the Blue Jays. I'm not bringing this up because the Yankees won a pivotal playoff-type game with the Blue Jays, but the last out of the game, and, of course, we're always fond of things that happen with South Carolina connections. If you didn't see it, Yankees are winning 7-6. Blue Jays have the bases loaded with 2 outs. Justin Smoke, the former Gamecock, at the plate. He smokes one, no pun intended, to a left field.
I think you intended that pun.
I just habitually say no pun intended, even though I did intend it. You're right. Anyway, he smokes one to left field. Looked like it could be a grand slam. And Brett Gardner, goes back, chases the ball down, jumps up at the wall, and makes the catch. And then as he makes the catch, his body slams into the wall. His glove ricochets off the wall. The ball starts to pop out of the webbing of his glove, a little snow cone effect. And he sort of, kind of pushed it up and let it drop back into his glove. And he caught it. And then in celebration, he kind of jumped up like Rocky with both hands up in the air, kind of gave it that kind of leap. It was really a great moment in baseball history.
Were you crying, Corn?
Only out of one eye. Only out of one. Because it's regular season. Playoffs get the 2-eye.
Are the Yankees going to be in the playoffs?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be this is one of the great stories being told in baseball history.
Right.
A team that basically sold off. It's true. It's one of the great stories in baseball history.
Right.
A team that basically sold off its best players, only 4.5 back in the division, and only 2.5 back in the wild card. So we're right there, baby, right there. Anyway, I thought I'd share that memorable moment with the audience tonight here on Sports Talk. Our poll question: who wins, USC or Mississippi State? Thus far, over 530 votes, 63%. Are voting USC. Boy, the Gamecock fans get confident in a hurry, don't they? 36% are voting Mississippi State. Perry Orth will have a lot to say about who will win that game. Terrific second half against Vanderbilt. And, I think he's finally fully arrived as a quarterback, because when you go on the road in the SEC and win a game, especially in comeback fashion, I think that signals your arrival as a true SEC quarterback. You have to do that at some point in time, and he did that with the help of his teammates. And now he gets to go play at Mississippi State. Now his brother, quarterback on the South Alabama team, not a starter but a member, and of course they just played Mississippi State.
Evan Orth or whatever his name.
Yeah, so the two have been talking. Of course, he's been getting a lot of background info, and he explains those conversations and other things looking ahead to Mississippi State.
He had a huge, he was very excited about the win. And, I've talked with him a few days, over the last few years, I should say, schematically of what, they looked like and, who their personnel was and what they did and what they had success with. So, actually going to give him a call on the way to class right now and talk about a play that we're thinking about running.
What about the mindset of this team this week after getting that big win, just the mood and everything?
Our confidence is going up, but, Coach has been preaching that, we want this one as bad as we wanted the first one. We want this one as bad as they want this one. So, we're going to go out there and prepare like we did all offseason and last week and, hopefully come out with a W on Saturday.
Barry, looking at the offense, do you guys think you were a little patient because there was so much newness last week?
No, we were just beating ourselves up a little bit, and I think that comes sometimes with playing the first game of the season. But, we hit a rhythm, come in the second half, and, I think we showed people what we're capable of. Now we just got to, score a little bit more points.
How much cushion was it for you to be able to throw out through it?
It means everything, because as soon as he caught that first deep ball, they started softening up, and then we were able to hit everything underneath. So.
Did that kind of take the pressure off, but obviously just kind of got you guys rolling a little bit in those first couple?
Yeah, absolutely. Once you hit a few passes consecutively, your confidence goes up. When they start softening up coverage, then it becomes just like it is in practice, and you're able to get in a rhythm and make plays.
When did you first realize Brian
When he got here in spring, you could tell that he could jump and catch and run, and you found out and figured out why he was such a high recruit. And he went out there and made plays like he's done all camp and all spring, so it was good to see him do that.
The rotation with you and Dave Mack the other night, you feel like it worked well, where you got some reps and it was kind of getting into sort of a little bit of a flow?
Yeah, definitely. Once I think both of us, once we got a little bit comfortable and gotten a few consecutive series, we were able to settle down and play. But I'm not sure how they'll do the rotation this week. All I know is that I'm going to start off the game again, and we'll go from there.
And obviously going to Starkville, obviously to get that kind of a hole again, it makes it a little bit tougher. So, obviously you can start right.
Yeah, no question. It's a good environment down there, and my mom was sending me videos. Actually, she was down in the game on Saturday. She's sending me videos of the cowbells and all the stuff that they do, so she's trying to get me ready to go.
You were talking about your brother. Is there a little bit of sibling rivalry now since he can say he already got him?
Definitely. Since he went down there and got him, I got a little bit of extra edge to go and get that win. But now he's helped out a bunch, and he's going to continue to help me out through the rest of the week and get ready to play.
Most chips in after the game that regardless of the outcome, you guys were still moved on, still trying to get better, but obviously doing it in the backdrop of a victory.
It changes a lot. We just got to keep pushing forward and keep getting ready to play, just like if we had lost it or if we had won by 50. So we got to go out there and try to be 2-0.
How much the second half of your Vanderbilt boost your confidence? How much the second half your second half of Vanderbilt boost your confidence?
It felt good, making plays, but not really boost my confidence. I know I can play, so it's not really – I'm not worried about myself. It was just good to see everybody click and come together, and big props to our defense. Y'all watched. He played lights out there, or they played lights out, so it was great to have them, and they were backing us the whole game. So we had all the confidence in the world in them, and they did in us. So, it was a big team win.
Okay, Perry Orth hoping to build on what he started last week at Vanderbilt, and I thought he did a nice job in the second half. Obviously, settled down at halftime, and whatever they told him worked, because I think he was like 10 of 15 throwing the ball in the second half. And, he found his security blanket out there in Brian Edwards, and I think he's got the feeling now is if he throws it up there near Brian Edwards, it's going to get caught.
Well, the point is you got to have one receiver, especially crunch time, that you throw it to when he's not open, because he'll come down with it.
All right, Dabo Sweeney has joined us here in the studio. Well, not in person, but via audio after practice. And that'll be coming up next here on Sports Talk. Back we are, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Dabo Sweeney coming up for you. In just a moment, we remind you to score big with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders has convenient office locations at USC and Clemson, plus ATMs at Clemson and Converse, Limestone, Presbyterian, USC and USC Lancaster, Winthrop, and York Tech. Visit foundersfcu.com, and you'll find a full listing to find an ATM or an office near you. Not a member? Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. All right, Dabo Sweeney, the Tigers practiced again today, of course, getting ready for the men of Troy. Not Southern Cal. We're talking the real men of Troy. The Trojans of Troy.
Overton probably
and
we'll probably get opportunity.
Want him here. Back him up. Back him up. There you go. Let's back him up. Dabo was asked about, he didn't get a lot of players in that he wanted to get in against Auburn. And so this might give him that opportunity, should give him that opportunity to get a lot of young players, a lot of freshmen in there. And he was asked after practice which freshman he'd like to see get in the game against Troy.
I think, Overton probably will get an opportunity to hopefully get in there at some point. Tremaine and Pollard. Like to have got him in the other night, but just wasn't the right situation. Throw those guys out there. Kayvon played. Some of these guys played on special teams. Denzel Hughes, Kayvon, all those guys. Trey Lamar, Dexter, obviously. So I think I don't really know how many he played, but we got a few of them in there on special teams. But there'll be some other guys that'll get some opportunity this week. Redshirt freshmen and true freshmen.
Have you liked what you've seen this week out of them?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a business-like week, as I told y'all the other day, this is our first true game week, and I like that part of it, kind of getting them in a rhythm a little bit, and start, as far as we got a lot of young guys on this team, that are playing for the first time, some of them that were in Power Hour last year, some of them that are new freshmen, scout team, so, we got a lot of guys that are kind of learning how we do things on a daily basis. From a game prep standpoint. But it's been good. Been a good week. And, again, real business-like. Eyes on the target, man.
Several years ago, true freshmen really didn't play a lot, if at all. But thinking earlier today, is them coming in January and then playing in all these all-star games, Under Armour, Army, does that help prepare them, get them here in the spring for being able to compete right away?
Well, I don't think all-star games had much to do with it. They don't have our systems and all that type of stuff. It takes them a while to get. But certainly coming in here early allows them to have a better chance. It's still hard, but allows them to have a much better chance because they can, get that semester and physically, develop a little bit and mentally get the system in the spring, get it again in the summer, get it again in fall camp. So you kind of get installation 3 times. So that's big as opposed to guys just showing up. It really helps them. Several of those guys that came in are going to play. So I definitely think it's a benefit to those who do that.
How crucial do you think that was for Dexter and getting to where he is now to have that extra time?
Well, I think he's had a lot of success on the practice field. And so I think it's big for him to translate that to the game field and to understand that, hey, the moment's not too big for him. It's just still football. And, I think his confidence of being able to go on the road and just do what he's done on the practice field at a high level against the team he knows nothing about, like had with Premier on the practice field, had the same type of success. I think that was great for his confidence.
Has there been a wow moment with Dexter, whether it be leading up in practice or when you were recruiting him, just a moment that's made you think, this kid's going to be really special?
Just the first time I saw him during, bend, we watched him move. And when we tested it, watching him in mat drills, it was unbelievable. I mean, just never flinch. Just a kid just coming out of high school, and he's going through mat drills, no problems, mentally tough, and just watching him move. I was just like, wow. And then testing him and seeing what the makeup of his body fat, and all that type of stuff. And this is a lean 340-pound man. And then you look at the strength numbers that he has, just couldn't help but be impressed right away.
As well as he's done, what are the biggest ways in which you challenge him now? What are the biggest ways in which you want to see him continue to grow?
Well, he's still a young guy learning, the nuances of the position, the little things that Dan, expects and teaches, and the nuances of our system. He's still a young guy. I mean, he physically looks like an old, mature guy, but mentally he's still young. Still can get fundamentally poor at times and play too high and things like that. But learning how to study the opponent, learning the tendencies of the opponent, how to anticipate things, the tips and things, keys that you can pick up from film study. Really learning how to do that and buying into that part of it so that he can take his game to an even better level. So.
Okay, Dabo Swinney from the Tigers practice earlier today. A lot of praise pouring in for the big Lawrence kid. I can't decide if he's William Perry or Chester McGlockton. I guess William Perry because they put him in the offensive backfield. Now, if they give him the football to carry, that'll be something. But he is a load. I was rewatching some of the Clemson-Auburn game on that touchdown down the goal line where they put him in there. And, of course, they got some good blocking up front, and he just followed the offensive lineman into the end zone, and then the running back just followed. It was a huge gaping hole that they ran through there. So,
well, sometimes you like to see that, but sometimes you don't want to see the big guy carry the ball. I'll never forget, I think it was the Memphis game. Ole Miss tried to get cute, gave Beachy the ball. He got hit on his knees.
That's right.
And they said, oh, okay, well, maybe shouldn't have done that.
Not a good idea. Okay. A reminder, SC Wild coming up at the bottom of the hour. Those of you who are the hunters and fisher people out there around the state, you have your questions and your comments for Captain Billy Downer. Stay tuned for that coming up at the bottom of the hour. Take your phone calls for him as well as your comments via Twitter and the email. Right now, it's the Sports Talk High School Football Report brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. With new auto insurance rates from Farm Bureau Insurance, you could be saving a whole lot of money. Even if you've received a quote before, rates are now more competitive than ever. Get a free quote today from your local Farm Bureau insurance agent. And let's take a look at the rankings this week from the High School Sports Report. In 5A, it's Dutch Fork at 2-0, rated number 1 by David Shelton and Company. West Side is number 2, Fort Dorchester 3, Gaffney 4, and Greenwood 5. Then it's Northwestern, Boiling Springs, Spartanburg, Sumter, and Spring Valley. In 4A, the number 1 spot ahead of Hartsville, Myrtle Beach, BHP, North Augusta, Ridgeview, Cane Bay, Lancaster, Hilton Head, and North Myrtle. All are undefeated so far. And number 11 and 12, Daniel and South Aiken are undefeated. What a turnaround. What a job being done at South Aiken as they're off to a 3-0 start. In 3A, Dillon is your number 1 team with Bluffton number 2. Brooklyn Casey having a very good year. He is number 3. Then it's Bishop England and Chapman. Timberland is 6th, followed by Strom Thurmond, Woodruff, Fairfield Central, and Lake City. In 2A, Abbeville leads the way. Ahead of Southside Christian, Barnwell, Bamberg Earhart, Calhoun County, and Sharon. All undefeated. Saluda is 7th, followed by Liberty, Chesney, and Andrews. And in 1A, it's Lamar, number 1, ahead of Lakeview, Louisville, Baptist Hill, and Mackie. Then it's Cross, C.E. Murray, Wagner, Sally, Hemingway, and Ridge Spring, Manetta. Sad report that Pelion, Denmark Oler, and Latta nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, Pillion's having a rough go.
Actually, Latta is number 20. Look at here. Latta is 20th.
Here we go.
In the 2A poll. The rest of you, nowhere to be seen. We are to be seen.
Jump out this window.
All right, we have the SC Wild segment coming up with the captain, Billy Downer, here on Sports Talk.
S.C. Wild.
Gotcha. I'm back. I was wondering, got silent for a while. Like, whoa.
We'll be back soon.
It's time to get wild with S.C. Wild. Everything hunting and fishing from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources and your host, Phil Kornblum. S.C. Wild on Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
It's time for SC Wild here on Sports Talk. Let's welcome in the captain, Billy Downer. Not with us tonight. He is down in Charleston at his alma mater of the Citadel, helping to inflate the footballs for the Bulldogs as they get ready for the bitter rivalry game against Furman this weekend.
Very nice. Very nice. Absolutely.
A proud cadet you are, huh?
Already receiving smack calls, too, about that game, may I add.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Nothing sweeter for the Citadel than to beat Furman.
Well, Furman's already getting a little bit revved up because they think they did real well with Michigan State. Anyway.
They did. They gave them a very good battle. But anyway, we will talk football with you another day. Wish you were in the studio with us, but you had a important thing to deal with, so we've got you on the phone. And we got some important things coming up. We've got dove hunting season and my favorite, alligator season.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Right around the corner.
I noted a little bit of disappointment in your voice. I'm not there tonight.
I was very disappointed. No, I was very disappointed. I was like, well, he's not here. I kept looking out.
I heard that. I was like, wow.
Normally you get here about 7 and I can go out and have like a normal person to talk to in these studios.
And you usually bring us something like wild turkey or wild hog or wild gator or something.
It's about time to cook again, I guess. So we might get that going.
Yeah.
Well, Jared, he's been up in Minnesota and he hasn't had good gator in a while.
I think he's had bear. I think up in Minnesota he's had some bear up there, but
yeah, we can do gator again. We can do that.
yeah, okay, you do
Why
that.
not set the fire alarms off again? We'll try that.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
it
talk
was
about dove season. Yes, sir.
That's right. This weekend started our dove season again. September 3rd, opening day was Saturday. Busy day again. A lot of hunters coming out in the afternoon to hunt doves. We had, appreciate y'all letting me get on last week real quick to remind folks. A lot of people were surprised this year that our limit went down a bit. Last year, the limit for doves was 15. This year, it's 12. A lot of people wondered why that happened. Basically, last year was an extremely low year as far as population-wise, and some of the averages on our public dove fields were lower than they had been in years. And so with that in mind, the limit was reduced to 12 to try to protect the resource this year. The next year, they go back to 15. But this year, it's 12. The limit's 12. A couple of things we want to go through. We talk about dove hunting. We want to talk about some of the rules to remember. A state hunting license is required, as well as a free harvest information program permit. We call it the HIP permit or migratory bird permit. You ask and answer a few questions on that, and it's free. A hunting license is not free, but then that's all you have to have there. And then your gun has to be properly plugged, which means it's capable of holding more than 3 shells at one time. All dove hunters know that, but people that are new to the sport may understand that their pumps or their automatics that can hold 5 shells must have the plugs inside the magazine to make sure they can only hold 3 shells at one time. That's a federal rule that we follow here. Your shooting times are a half hour before sunrise until sunset, except for the first 3 days of the season, which was this past weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And a season doesn't go by that I don't get asked, why do we only let people shoot in the afternoons the first couple of days? Because it's real hot. I mean, Saturday was a scorcher. It was supposedly 83, 85, but it felt like it was 100 degrees. I was in a dove field, one of our youth fields at Manchester on Saturday, helping and mentoring. So people always want to know, why can't we hunt in the mornings this first 3 days? And the answer is very simple. For the folks, I like to remind them of this. 80% of the doves that are shot for the entire season are shot the first 3 days. That's how popular dove hunting is in South. That person can hunt. And we had a couple of good fields this year. A couple of fields to talk about. The Hallman Field in Lexington had 101 hunters who shot 2,665 times. They took 358 birds. Manchester State Forest, the Toomey Field, not far from where I was in the playing field, had 180 hunters show up. They shot 4,300 times.
How many did they get with that?
They took 800 birds.
800 birds.
That's not the big one, guys. Here's the big one.
Okay.
Very popular field over in Berkeley County, the Canal WMA Field. 582 hunters. Shot 11,700 times. A lot of birds that they took over 2,000 birds at a very big field. A lot of opportunity there for hunters there. The canal field is very popular. Always big that first day for the youth day. It's a big opportunity for folks. As you see, people turn out. It's a big deal. I mean, we almost can't plan another public dove field. That's how popular it is. The fields we have are get filled up fast.
Sound like it. Let's take a quick call for you from Lenny down in Hampton, listening to us on 96.5 down in that part of the state. Lenny, you are on the air with Captain Billy Downer here on SC Wild.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
It's the big dog 93.5, but
sorry.
But anyway, that's okay. I got a question, Captain, about naming a boot. I got the registration numbers, everything's good. But I've been thinking about putting a name on it. Is there anything legal, or can I just put a name on it?
Why don't you call it the corn?
Yeah, if you're going to name it after corn, you do have to pay him a royalty.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to be named after corn. Sorry,
No,
Phil.
Lenny, if you're going to name the boat, you just talk about like painting the name of the boat. You're not talking about documenting the vessel, are you?
Right. I'm just going to get some stickers put on it.
No. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But a lot of people that own bigger boats, they call document the boat. You see the back of the boats that say the Old Goose or something. And it'll have Watertown, Pennsylvania, or New York, or it has to be a